What's up, gamers? This is NGG here with another video. This time it's a Father's Day special of sorts. This is 10 video games about fathers on the Nintendo Switch. These are just going to be my beginning ones. There are plenty other games about dad. Maybe I'll do a future one next Father's Day, but this time we're just going to worry about the 10 games that are about fathers. Let's get into the games. So the first one I have for you is the first game that was on the Switch, which is The Legends of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And we're gonna talk about her dad, which is Ram Bosforamus, Hyrule, and then Zelda. So in this game, obviously most people have played Zelda at this point, but in this game Zelda is trying to become the champion. Her father is pushing her to be, access her powers, to help her country learn how to use the things that they need to learn how to use. So her dad is a very pivotal part in a lot of the storyline that is here. I mean, along with Link, of course, but you definitely see her father play a huge role in this game. The next game I have for you is Pokemon Sword and Shield, and I'm talking about specifically the Crown Tundra DLC for those games, which introduces two characters, which is I'm gonna probably pronounce his name wrong, Peony and Fiona. And so that's Peony is the father and Fiona is the daughter. And so in this game, when you get to the Crown Tundra, you see these two characters right there in the beginning, and you see them having a discussion. He's trying to get his daughter to do all of these father-daughter things with her because she's growing up, and he doesn't want to see his baby girl grow up, and she wants to go off on her own and have her own adventure. But he has scheduled so many things for them to do, and like he's planned this big adventure around them two being together. And I feel like he's such a good dad in the fact that he's trying to spend time with his daughter, and I definitely love that little aspect of that relationship in the game. It definitely takes place throughout most of the Crown Tundra DLC, so you will definitely see their relationship blossom later on. She's missing for a little while, and he's definitely trying to have an adventure with her, so he's definitely looking for his daughter to have that adventure. The next game I have for you is Immortal Fenyx Rising. Now, Zeus is not gonna win the Father of the Year award at all in this game, but this game does talk about Zeus and a couple of his children. I'll just name 4 of them for you. We have Ares, the god of war, Apollo, Hermes, and Athena. And so some of them talk about their relationship with their dad Zeus. Not all of them. I think Athena definitely does talk about her relationship with her dad. But definitely this game does, revolve around the story of Fenyx trying to save these gods. Like Ares becomes opposite of what he normally is, which is, instead of the god of war, he becomes a chicken of sorts. So like definitely a great, it's one of my favorite games. I definitely made a review for this game and Pokemon Sword and Shield as well. The next game I have for you is Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, and now we're just gonna talk about the Bowser's Fury part. And so in Bowser's Fury, the game starts off with Bowser Jr. telling you that something's happened to his dad and he wants your help to try to save his dad, because his dad has gone crazy. He becomes like this gigantic version of himself, and Bowser Jr. really wants you to save his dad. So you are Mario doing your Mario things, trying to help Bowser Jr. And now Bowser Jr. in this game, you can set Bowser Jr. to like be super helpful to you, mildly helpful, or not at all helpful to you. And I did set him on the most helpful for me because I'm not good at platforming, so I definitely wanted Bowser Jr. to help me save his dad the most. The next game I have for you is Resident Evil Revelations 2, and I am talking about Barry and Moira's relationship. So in the beginning, Moira is taken along with another one of the stars into this island, and it's like a jail island or something. Like they're taken to this island. Barry later on finds out where they're taken, and he goes to try to save his daughter, because you know that's his daughter. Nothing's happening to his daughter on his watch. So it's kind of interesting the way this game plays out. You are playing 4 sets of characters. So you're playing, I believe it's Jill that gets taken along with Moira. Don't quote me on the second person, but so you're playing Jill and Moira and Barry and a young girl. And so they're splitting the game into, like, it goes forward and back in time. So like the first scene will be Jill and Moira, and then right after you finish that part, you have to trace your steps again with Barry and the young girl. And so you're running around the same areas with 4 different characters. I definitely played this game as a co-op experience with my daughter. We recently finished it. We just have to work on some of the DLC, and then we will be done. The next game I have for you is Ni no Kuni 2. So in this game, unfortunately, your father is murdered in the very beginning of the game before you even arrive to the scene. So you see Prince Evan trying to he's about to be crowned king because his father was murdered and now he's taking the throne, but there's, you know, a coup happening at the same time, and you get into why the coup happened, and a lot of it relates to how the Chancellor and your father dealt with each other and how the Chancellor felt about your father. There are cutscenes with your dad and the Chancellor, and you know, you learning about how your father ruled this kingdom and how you can either do better or do worse. There are other scenes with Evan as well as a family member of his, and I thought those were special scenes. But I really kind of don't want to spoil too much of the storyline for you guys. But I think this is an amazing game with bringing home family through generations. The next game I have for you is Café Enchanté. And so now the review video for this one hasn't come out yet. It should be, fingers crossed. I recorded it last month, but I haven't set it out until hopefully next week we'll see it. So this place, it's one of those, it takes kind of like every normal farming sim. So you are your granddaughter, and your grandfather has passed away and left you his cafe. So you only see the relationship between the cafe owner, the grandfather, and his granddaughter a little bit, but you definitely hear more about the grandfather and his relationship with the patrons of the cafe through them. So you learn about your grandfather and how he was with the other customers through the customers' experiences with your grandfather. The next game I want to talk about is One Piece Pirate Warriors 4. And now in this game we have multiple dads and kinds of dads. So we have the regular dad, which is Kratos, and Rebecca is his daughter. And so in this one, Kratos is turned into a toy soldier, and he is the only one with the memory that Rebecca is his daughter. She doesn't know that he's her father in this toy soldier form, so he's always protecting his daughter. She's like in this coliseum, and she has become like a gladiator of sorts, and she's always fighting, and I don't think he likes that. He doesn't want that for his daughter. And he tries to stop her, but she doesn't listen. She even says to the point, "You're not my father." So she doesn't know that he is her father. He knows, but she doesn't. Another father in this game that we want to talk about is an adopted father. So we're talking about Whitebeard, who is his adopted son is Ace. And in this one, you see Whitebeard trying to save Ace from the execution, being executed. And so there are lots of scenes about where you see Whitebeard trying to save Ace. And I thought that was cute. It was nice and super special that you see him trying to save his adopted son from being executed. And the last father we want to talk about is Judge Vismoke, which is Sanji's father. And in this arc, you see Judge trying to marry off Sanji. So Judge, I don't think, is the best father in this situation either, because he's trying to marry Sanji off so that he can to Pudding and Big Mama's family, so that they can unite their families, so that, I guess, so they can stop feuding, or so that they're permanently part of Big Mama's family. And I don't think it's not something Sanji wants, but is being forced on him by Judge Vismoke. So not the best kind of father, but that is his real IRL father. So I feel like Whitebeard was a better father to Ace, and so was Kraos, a better father to Rebecca than Judge was to Sanji. Okay, and now on to another Warriors game, and this one we have Fire Emblem Warriors, not the new one, but the old one, the original one. And this one we're talking about Chrom and his daughter Lucia. And in this one, you see Lucia come back, and I guess because Lucia knew her father when she was younger. From what I'm gathering, I can't remember completely, but like she sees the younger version of her father in this game, because they come back through time. This game deals with different time period things, and so you see a younger version of Chrom than she's used to, and she's older, and so she's now able to experience fighting alongside her father on the battlefield, which is not an experience I think she had prior. It's from what I'm gathering. I don't really remember the story too much, but I know Chrom is there with Lucia, and they talk, have a couple of speaking roles in this game together. And I really didn't know too much about Chrom or Lucia, because the first Fire Emblem game I played was the Fates games on the 3DS, so I didn't know too much about this one. I'm pretty sure though the fathers from the Fates collection is here as well, the battling fathers. I can't remember, so I don't want to say for sure, but I know the Fates characters are in this Warriors game, and their father might be here as well. The next and last game I want to talk about is another Fire Emblem game. This one is Fire Emblem Three Houses. And now this one I just started playing, so I couldn't tell you too much about the father. I just know that the father is Gerald? I can't pronounce his name. And the child is of course your main character, which is Violet. And so I know that he raised her to like fight. So he and her are mercenaries, and he used to be part of like this army, or this for this church that I'm gathering. And he separated it from it somehow. They found them, and now they bring you both back into the church to teach. So you are Violet as the teacher, and your dad is like, I'm sorry, I didn't want, I didn't expect you to become a teacher and stuff like that. So I don't know too much about what's going on in the story between those two, because I just started this game, but I'm hoping to find more about what's happening between this father-daughter dynamic in this game. So these were my 10 picks for games about fathers. I'm hoping you guys who are fathers have a great Father's Day. And if you guys have dads in your life, adopted, biological, sometimes people who like Whitebeard, who just adopted you into their family, just not your actual IRL dad, just dads in your life, just give them warm hugs and warm feelings and say happy Father's Day to them. But thank you guys for watching this video about 10 dads in Nintendo Switch games. If you want to know more about my thoughts on each of these games that I'm talking about, most of these games are on a review. Happy gaming, guys. Bye.